Hello, everyone. My name is Bonnie Poirier, and this is my very first Facebook Live ever. I've never done one of these before, and quite frankly, I'm just a little bit nervous. So, when I come to you on this day, this beautiful Thursday, the one thing that I wanted to share with you is spiritual awareness. So many people have been plagued with thoughts and ideas of what spiritual awareness is all about, and I am one of those people. Way back in my 20s, I had what I would call a spiritual awakening. Now, many people, they come to the thought and idea of awakening their spirituality when there is a very earth-shattering event in their lives, something that makes them stop and ask themselves, why is this happening? What does this mean? What am I to do with this? And many times it's in the form of grief. And that's what it was for me. I was back in my 20s, young. I had someone very special in my life. I wasn't sure where it was going to go, but I did know that this was someone that I cared about very much. As a matter of fact, this is someone that I felt like a soul connection with. And then one day, as this person was driving, they were hit head on, and this person died. And it shocked me to my very core. I wasn't sure what to do with my grief. It was so profound, so shocking. It was like a switch had been flipped. So as time would go on, I asked all the right questions. What does this mean to me? What am I to do with this? Where am I going to go? And I began that journey, that spiritual journey of seeking and hoping to find. I took lots of classes, read lots of books, went to many events, saw many counselors and teachers. Back then we didn't really have people that we called coaches. But I did go to a few people and wondered why. Why did this happen so suddenly? And as I continued on my journey, seeking and hoping to find, I knew that I wanted it to be like the switch that I experienced with that intense grief. I knew that something greater was out there. But what was it? I wanted my spiritual awakening to be like a lamp with a bulb on top that you just turn on and turn off. Because at that time I felt my lamp was in the off position. So as I was seeking and hoping to find, I sought out psychics, read all those books, had charts done, and little did I know that as I was expecting that light switch to turn on, just like that sudden death happened, it didn't happen that way. And what happened was I was at someone's home, and they had one of these large bottles, and it was sitting right there in their kitchen. As you walk into their kitchen, it was sitting right there. And it caught my eye. And I looked at this, and there was this string of little tiny lights that were like shoved down into this bottle. And the light string was on, and these little lights were lit up. And it just caught my attention. It's like, why am I so focused on this? It is interesting, but it got my attention. So I asked the person, my friend, I said, what is that? And she said, oh, that's my nightlight. She found this beautiful jar, this bottle, if you will, and she cleaned it up, and she found what she called fairy lights. And little did I know that that's actually what they're called, fairy lights. They're little bitty lights on a little bitty thin string, and when they're lit up, they're actually beautiful. So I kept looking at this, and we went on. I left the kitchen, and we had a nice visit and said our goodbyes. I went home. And as time would go on, I kept thinking about that. And finally, I was in a session with another hypnotherapist. Hypnotherapists do see other hypnotherapists. And it was for something very mundane. It was like a little fear that I was having at the time that I did overcome. But that was my light switch moment. You see, what I gathered in that particular session is that I spent years, decades, waiting for that light to go off, where I would be spiritually awakened. And what I didn't realize is that all those things that I had been doing all those years, every workshop, every class, every book, every person I saw, every chart that was done, everything added up. And I was not like the lamp with the light bulb on top that you suddenly flick on. I was like that bottle with that beautiful string of fairy lights. And with every little thing that I did over those years and decades, one of those little fairy lights would come on. And it dawned on me, that's my spiritual journey. Now, there are folks that, yes, they do have that point where they suddenly have this light go off or go on. That switch is turned, toggled up. But mine was like a string of fairy lights that were jumbled in no particular order into a jar and lit up. And then it dawned on me how beautiful, how blessed, how wonderful it is that I can look back on my journey the last 40 plus years, and I can see where every teacher, every therapist, every counselor, every psychic, everyone, every spiritual counselor that I saw, they were like helping me to light up that little light, that little fairy light. And that was my journey. It was in no particular order, but every bit of it makes perfect sense now. And that's what I wanted to share with you, that if you're on this journey to a spiritual awakening, it may not be like that light switch that I had been begging for, pleading for all those years. But it could be a continuation of your journey. It may be in the mundane. Mine certainly was. Or it can be in the bright and the sparkling. Again, my journey as well. So my hope with you is that once a month, on the second Thursday of each month, we can gather together like this for just a few moments And somehow, some way, I can share with you my own journey, bit by bit by bit. And that your own string of fairy lights will start lighting up, one after the other. So that then you can gain that awareness of your own beauty, of having those fairy lights in that jar, lit up, bright, shining, ready to shine some light onto the world, perhaps bringing a little bit of positivity and a lot of negativity, because we certainly have enough negativity in this world, don't we? I believe that's part of our journey, is to be that smile, that joy, that inner peace that you can share with another, so that you can help bring something to them. And as we are doing this once a month, bit by bit, I do want to share with you that meditation is one of the biggest keys in spiritual awakening, if you will, spiritual development, intuitive development, whatever it is that your goal may be. The base of it really is meditation, quieting the mind, bringing the mind down, letting go of that chatter, or harnessing that chatter for just a few moments. But where does hypnosis come in this? Well, it's been said many, many times that hypnosis is the gateway to meditation. And it's true. Many years ago, about 32 years ago, I was introduced to hypnosis. And I was introduced to it when I took a healing touch class. And I was having a bit of an issue with stress and anxiety. And someone recommended that I see a hypnotherapist in Springfield, Louisiana. I was living in New Orleans at the time. So I called up and he answered and made an appointment. And I got in my car and I drove out to Springfield, Louisiana, which is pretty much in the middle of nowhere. And I had a session with this fellow. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't ever experience hypnosis before. And I made another appointment after that session ended. And I went back to see him again. And it was after that session that I realized that there were changes that were being made. Things that would bring about total anxiety, even panic, were no longer doing that. I was reacting way differently. And so I knew at that third session, I knew I had to learn this. And lo and behold, he had a hypnosis school. And I signed up. And as they say, that's where it all started. I started in my hypnotherapy journey by needing hypnotherapy myself. And it helped tremendously. And over the years, I've seen hypnotherapists. And it's been a beautiful journey. So yes, hypnosis is a gateway, a key to meditation. Just sitting for a few moments, quieting your mind, allowing that inner awareness to come in, allowing the answers to come forth quickly or as you're doing the mundane, washing dishes, folding clothes, things like that. For me, that's where I get a lot of my answers to life-changing questions. I could be rinsing out a cup or fluffing up the covers on my bed, and it'll come to me. But meditation is key. And as time goes on, we'll be talking more and more about meditation and other things that you can do to help you awaken your spirituality. And I thank you for being with me. Thank you for being a part of the continuation of my journey. And I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful evening. And if you're seeing this in replay, I thank you. And leave a comment. And if you need to get in touch with me, you know how. But for now, I thank you again for being a part of this. And I wish you all the best.